In Acts of the Apostles, chapter 16, it begins in verse 6 with Paul and his companions going through the regions of Phrygia and Galatia, which of course are now in Turkey, and having been forbidden by the Holy Spirit to speak the word in Asia. For some reason or other, the Holy Spirit addressed Paul in some private prayer or perhaps through some prophetic word, but somehow the Holy Spirit made it clear to him he was not to preach in this region of Western Asia Minor, that is, Western Turkey. And as he did so, they came up opposite Mysia and attempted to go into Bithynia. But the Spirit of Jesus did not allow them. So they passed by Mysia and they went down to Troas. Troas is exactly where I am right now. This is a city that was founded in around 310 BC by one of Alexander the Great's generals, Antigonus. However, another one of his generals, Lysimachus, didn't like it that Antigonus had it. So they went to war, and in 310, Lysimachus took this city and made it his own. This became a great seaport, a very important one in the ancient world. And in fact, for a long time, it became the most important seaport in this region of the Dardanelles. And so, Paul came over here, trying to go to Mysia, one city, but not being able to do so because the Holy Spirit had something else in mind. And what happens in that vision occurs at night when Paul sees a man of Macedonia standing, beseeching him and saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." The Holy Spirit now spoke to Paul through this very important dream. He would know the man to be a Macedonian because the Macedonians had a very specific way of dressing, as is typical of people of these regions. And so he sees that, and immediately we sought to go on to Macedonia. Notice there in verse 10 that it says, we sought to go to Macedonia. This means that St. Luke is with St. Paul. St. Luke, the author of Acts of the Apostles, and he's on this section of the journey from Troas. And they concluded that God had called them to preach the gospel to Macedonia. So they set sail, therefore, from Troas, made a direct voyage to Samothraki, and then the following day to Neapolis, and from there they went to Philippi. It's from here that St. Paul gets the direction, closing some doors here in Western Asia, but the Holy Spirit opening up another door to leave from this harbor and go off to Europe. And it's from this place that the evangelization of Europe is called for by the Holy Spirit. And from this place, St. Paul sails to Europe and begins to evangelize in the European city of Philippi in Macedonia.